All right, well, as some of you know, I'm Matt Watson. I am one of the Wyakin Warriors here. Here to go ahead and introduce our friend here, because he's now a good friend of our program and hopefully will be for a while. He's had an illustrious career doing something that would be probably a little bit scary for a lot of us. But he likes to turn G's for a living, basically. And hopefully he's going to give us some skills tonight to maybe make some G's of our own, as in money.
What we call grants.
Okay, anyway. But it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sean Tucker, stunt pilot, or if you want to call him a daredevil.
I'm a stunt pilot. I'm not a daredevil, and I'm not a dumbass. Because being a dumbass means you're dead in my business. And thanks for saying that, because there's a big difference. And early on in my career, I thought it was worth dying for. And this is in the 70s. And let me back this up just a little bit. I tried to start skydiving when I was 17 years old. I was in 1969. I watched my friend die. I had 7 jumps. And he panicked. It was those days of all Army paratroop guys. You remember the static line? And 17, he wrapped around. I watched him die. That wasn't a good experience for me. And it, number one, broke my heart because he was my best friend. I said, I don't want to talk him into go skydiving. So I felt just terrible. But I still had this notion I wanted to be in the sky. I still had this notion that that's where I belong. So at 17, my quest started. So I started with a total tragedy. So I said, I'll take up flying because that's safe. Well, I had such fear going into flying, and I had not a lot of money, that not having a lot of money means it took me a long time to get a lesson, and it just became, every time I took a flying lesson, I got more fearful. Took me a year to solo, and I shouldn't have soloed because I was totally dangerous. Took me 3 years to get my private pilot's license, and now I'm a cool kid of 21 years old with a pilot's license who was terrible. My friends, I'd go flying with my friends, and I would panic at the controls if anything happened. And well, that panic becomes, and all of you warriors know, when you panic, that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're worried, thinking you're going to die, that's where you're going. And I knew I had needed to change that equation if I wanted to be in the sky. I knew I had to change that equation if I wanted to, because my heart just said, that's the only place I wanted to be. I was at home in the sky. So I went and faced the fears, went and talked to this little old lady named Amelia Reed, and I told her, I'm scared of shit. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. And I'm scared of stalling an airplane. I'm scared of turbulence. I'm scared of everything about it. She said, well, let's go try some aerobatics. I had 55 hours of flying time. And first time she took me upside down, I was scared of that. Next time she took me upside down, I liked it a little bit more. She taught me to roll it and loop it. And I fell in love with it. I'm 24,000 hours now. And my career has taken, but has been for the last, I don't know how many, 3 decades, dedicated to the art form of aerobatic flight. Doesn't mean I've always been successful. But to spin, tumble, loop, and flip through the sky, making designs in a flying machine where you try to have the wings become your arms, is fabulous for me. And then you got to figure out how to make a living out of it, which is a whole other equation, because they're scienced airplanes. Lift, weight, thrust, and drag makes an airplane fly. That's not true. It's money. It's money. It's a lot of money. So, what I got to tell you is I had to put that whole thing together. But I didn't weaken on my quest, and I made some huge mistakes along the way. Number one, I started to believe that I started developing a pretty good talent in this because of my passion. That's all I wanted to do. To this day, I fly 750 times a year, practicing for only 16 to 20 venues across America. But I had the same passion. When I was going to college, I had Tucker's free flying service. People would just buy the gas, and I'd take them aerobatic flying. This huge passion. I worked 3 jobs to buy my first airshow airplane. Huge passion. I didn't care what it took to make this happen. I didn't care if I was willing to die for it. And I almost did, because I was an idiot. Flew my first show in 1976, and I was pretty good, because I had this huge passion. I had this huge quest. I was pretty good. But I wanted to prove something. I wanted to prove something to the world, that I could be the best in the world, but I didn't have any direction and skills. And in 1979, I was married, 2 years married, and this guy's gonna pay me $500 to do 30 inverted flat spins through the sky, and I'm living in here I got this brand new $23,000 airplane, and I'm living in a 23 travel trailer with my wife that I'm still married to, and we're broke. We're living in this travel trailer, and I get this fabulous airplane, and I told this guy I could do 30 inverted flat spins, never done it in my life, but I'm getting $500 on flying air shows. And previous to that, these old guys were telling me, Sean, you're pushing it too hard, you're gonna be fine, you just need to tone it down a little bit. And these old guys, who are probably not at my age, but I am now at 60, I can listen to them. I said, what do these old guys know? They got gray hairs, they're just chicken. And so I go practice these 30 inverted flat spin to make this $500, and the airplane won't do it. And so I figured out how to get the center of gravity of the airplane farther and farther aft by me leaning out of the airplane. This is how crazy I was. You know, I'd hang out like this, and the airplane would be the weight and balance me back, and it was getting flatter and flatter. And I said, okay, I got it figured out now. I'm going to lean farther out, and I'm going to get the 30 inverted flat spins, because what would happen is it would just fly out of it, and so I had to get the center of gravity out. So I did it. I got so far out of the airplane, I'm hanging out. This is a true story, hanging out of the airplane. Got my 30 inverted flat spins, did it, yay, baby! It was time to recover, and I couldn't reach the pedals. And I also couldn't get back into the airplane. Now, there's my dream. And I'm not worried about it anymore, because I'm gonna die. And so it's time to jump out of the airplane. I'm going through 1,000 feet, and this is in the late 70s, and they had a design flaw in the seatbelt. They never checked it when you're upside down with weight on it to release, and the latches don't want to release. And I'm looking at the ground over Moss Landing, which is the Monterey Bay area, and I've gone through 1,000 feet, and I'm still in the airplane, and I can't get out. And I never gave up. One thing I've always believed in, flight and as far into the wreck as possible, don't give up. And I never gave up. And I finally released. The airplane hit me. I said, please, God, I found out there's no atheist in a disabled airplane. When you're in trouble, you're asking for all the help you can. The airplane hit me. I spun. I said, please, God. And the airplane crashed. And I lay there, and at the time, at one of my jobs, I was a crop duster flying old beat-up Stearmans there. And my boss comes driving up to rescue me. I'm laying there, and I looked where my body would have been. You know, I dug a hole 5 feet deep. I said, I just blew it all, and I got to grow up. I just blew the privilege. So, that being said, I'll show you the first video. The first video is just me and my 1,200. Actually, don't start it yet. Actually, that airplane crashed 7 years ago. I had to jump out of it. That's a different story. But the new airplane is great. But this one is, and my goal is to be better than I was yesterday and strive to be better tomorrow. Because the theme that I firmly believe in, that passion, if you have passion in yourself, you never give up. Being just good enough is not okay. To be successful in this world, especially in this incredibly complicated world, cream rises to the top. And you start with that passion. But anyway, this is what I'm doing today, down here on the bottom. Akash, can you hit the lights? So I'm going straight up. You guys, you can't see, I'm going straight up. And one of my mentors who I'll talk to you about taught me this move. He became a world champion for this move. Now I'm flying backwards, tail first, and controlling the airplane. I go backwards for about 800 feet, tail first. All the control processes are reversed. But the airplane weighs 1,200 pounds, 400 horsepower, taking up to 300 miles an hour. The roll rate is about 400 degrees a second, and made out of wood, fabric, composites, titaniums, and it's a fabulous flying machine. It hovers in the sky like a helicopter.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
That's not moving?
No.
That's not
It's a very cool flying machine. And I'm still learning how to fly this. And I'll talk about how I crashed this one later. Wasn't my fault that time.
How much is that plane?
400 grand. It's another problem. Now that's 5.5 to 6 negative G's, all the blood goes to your head. This one is a very radical one where it'll be a sustained 7, where it's trying to throw you out of the cockpit, where it's tumbling end over end. End over end, end over end. Now I'm going just straight up 0 G. I got a key in on the outside. When you're flying aerobatics, you're never looking inside. You never see me looking inside, man. You want to know where that ground is. You don't want to hit it. Not a good idea. But it's very precise work. As you can see this tumble and flip. I have to be in control of this airplane the whole time because I'm so low to the ground. You have to be able to control it and come out of that figure to go into the next one. It has to be 100% of the time this maneuver has to work. Okay, this next shot I'll be 20 feet off the ground, upside down, cutting the ribbon at 225 miles an hour. This shot I'm just going straight up again, and there's a helicopter above me filming it. So I had to stop right there so I didn't bang into him. Good idea. You turn the lights on. Okay, but so anyway, I crashed. That's what the hell I'm flying now. And this is a number of years ago. And I'm better now than I was 7 years ago, which is so cool. To have a job that compels you to keep pushing the envelope, pushing your own personal boundaries. But I knew going back into it, I had to quit being an air show pilot. I lost my dream. Have this beautiful wife I love. We're living in a 23-foot travel trailer, man. I mean, we got 2 dogs as big as your dog. And 2 of them, we're sharing a little twin bed, and the other 2, they sleep in the other bed. We got 1 car. I'm working 3 jobs, and I say, I'm not making it. And so I had to set my dream aside to say, okay, I said I was getting married. I got to stick to that deal. And, you know, and thank God I did. She's a mother. My 2 kids are out of college, debt-free. My son's an aerospace engineer, being a corporate pilot, paying his dues. My daughter just got out of film school. And these beautiful kids. I said, I got to grow up and be a man. I blew it. I blew my dream. She let me do it. So I took that money, which was, I had like $7,000 equity from the crash and insurance, and I'd never flown a helicopter before. And so I took that money and I went to the bank and I said, I want to buy a $21,000 helicopter and I want to be a crop duster helicopter. And the bank loaned me the rest of the money, and I'd never been in a helicopter, so I hired a guy, one of your friends, one of Cliff's friends, Burl Bigelow. I hired a guy, one of your Army combat guys, to teach me to fly it, and then and the point I'm trying to make is, when you're a small-time guy and you got a passion, you don't leave any stone unturned to be successful. And you don't leave any stone unturned to do what your heart tells you to do. And I wanted to fly, had to leave that dream aside, and so I became a helicopter pilot. Never been in one, actually failed my first check ride because I'm not a very good pilot. I'm a World Air Show champion, I'm a National Aviation Hall of Fame, I'm all this stuff, but I'm not a very extraordinary pilot in terms of skills. But I got extraordinary passion, and I work harder than anybody else. I work harder than anybody else. And so I failed my first check ride, and that really made me mad, because I told all my friends, I got my helicopter getting a commercial rating, so I go be a crop duster, and I failed. Well, I failed because I didn't know how to have a certain skill. I deserved to fail. Thank God this guy failed me because he's kept me alive. So I went and got that skill. And I got good at that skill, and so I started a helicopter crop dusting company. And slowly, then I bought a house. And once you get the house, you got the crop dusting company, you got the business, then you can put some dough aside. So I started putting some dough aside, and I bought my next airplane. I had to jump out of that one. Bad advice. There goes the dream again. I bought a paint job instead of a flying machine. It was beautiful, but I bought it from this guy. He suckered me, man. I flew all the way to Maryland to get this airplane, another $23,000 airplane, and I had to go meet him in his hospital room. He's a fellow crop duster, so I could trust him. No. I didn't have a mechanic come with me, and within 50 hours of owning that airplane, I had to bail out of that because I was doing a maneuver thinking I was getting back into it, and the stick broke off. So, yeah, it's another story. It's another story. In Salinas, in my hometown, in Salinas, and I bailed out of that airplane, and it took a year to find it because it's next to the mountains, and when it crashed, I had all my friends came to go look for it. It took a year to find it. So guess who thought I was a crook? It was the insurance company. You know, I say, well, where's your airplane? I don't know, man. But trust me, I killed it. It's gone. There's no airplane, man. Trust me. They made me wait 60 days before they would pay me. Thank God. I was out flying around. I took one of my secretaries flying in the helicopter she'd never been. And I saw this stuff, and I thought it was a marijuana farm field. And it was part of my wreckage. What had happened, the airplane had crashed and went behind a tree, and instantly, when I was in the wintertime, instantly went on fire, and it was on the back side of the tree. And we found it. I got the wreckage, called the insurance company. I said, see? I wasn't lying. Well, they didn't care. They paid me the money. So now, I lost that dream. So in about 1986, I said, okay, I got one more shot. Got more money, more money. Went up to Oregon, bought a $32,000 airplane. And this airplane was fabulous. This guy wanted cash. I don't know what he did. He drove up in his Porsche, driving, smoking a cigar. He said, you bring me a bag of cash for $32,000 and you got yourself an airplane. He paid $140,000 for it. Had 100 hours on it. He just needed the dough. It was right after Mount St. Helens and the whole thing. It was a dusty old airplane. I got that thing home. I shined it up. And that airplane turned me into a national champion. And in 1988, I became a national champion. And the only reason I got into competition is because I was so bad and I had such a bad reputation for being wild and crazy. You know, I've already jumped out of 2 airplanes. Who's going to hire me? All I wanted to be was an airshow pilot. And so I said, okay, this time I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to have the right staff. I'm going to find the right mentors. My mentor, and I'm going to do it correctly. And so I did. I hired a coach, and I trained, and my mentors were world champions. My mentors who became my dear friends. And why would they want to help a wild guy? Because I asked them, I reached out. Charlie Hiller, our first world champion, world aerobatic champion. Leo Laudenslager, 7-time national champion, 1-time world champion. Bob Hoover, who is still the greatest icon in American aviation we ever had, was still my dear friend. He's 92. Talk to him once a week. And I asked him to be my mentors. And I tried to figure out, I would train with Charlie and I'd train with Leo. And what they did is really give me a perspective of what this is all about. What they gave me is an understanding. It wasn't about me. If you're really going to do this, you got to understand this isn't a right to go kill yourself. This is privilege to share the magic of flight. And once I started understanding that perspective that they have, that perspective of what these kids, when I fly in front of about 6 million people a year, and I taxi back, and it doesn't matter how good I am in the airplane. That's all about me pushing my envelope. It's about what that joy you're sharing with that person who came to watch flight. Because I'm telling you, not everybody likes airplanes, but everybody flies in their dreams in some way, and they just resonate. The joy you have that you share with these kids, they're just blown away that an airplane airplane could do that, you know? And once I started understanding the reasons of why you fly, once I had the humility, that's when my career started taking off. I got my first shot, just like what you guys are doing here is your shot, your sponsorship, your shot at your life. When I got my first shot was in '92, and I got my first sponsorship. And it has been the greatest thing that ever happened in my life, because I could now go full-time to be an airshow pilot and live my dream. But I've never once not understand that this is a privilege, it's not a right. And I also understand what mentorship is all about, because these guys gave me so much. When a mentor opens the door for you, they've already cleared the way. They've already shown you, they're giving you their wisdom. They're giving you their knowledge, because they want you to be better than them, so you can take it to the next level. And I asked Bob why he did it. Why do you keep mentoring me? He's 92. He's the greatest guy you ever want to meet. Talks like this, drinks like a fish. And he said, "Shut up! If I don't help you get to be the best you can be, I'll never be the best I can be." And boy, that was a big lesson, because by mentoring, I always look for mentors and I always mentor, because that's how you grow professionally, that's how you grow spiritually, that's how you grow no matter what line of work you're striving for. Is mentorship is the key, and that humility to ask for it, and the pride to, and the understanding that you can also be a mentor, having the confidence in yourself, because that's how you grow. I want to show you what this next video is with my 4-ship team performing at Oshkosh. We're working on a movie project that failed. Cost me a lot of money, but this was a teaser. It was so much fun to do it. Oshkosh is, for me, the epitome of what aviation means. And you'll see 20,000 airplanes there lined up on the strip. You'll see little kids walking. You get to see, we do this once a year in August, and they come from around the world. And this will be my 21st year performing there, and I consider it's a 200,000 member organization. They're going to announce in August that I'm going to become the spokesperson, the national spokesperson and chair of the Young Eagles program. The Young Eagles program is where we take kids flying. We've already taken 1.5 million kids flying, just so they can get the sense of flying for free, all around the thing. But anyway, this is based in Oshkosh, my favorite place to be at the end of July. All these people fly in from all over America, Canada, and Mexico. It's a convention of passionate people who love flying. People come in their campers, they sleep underneath the wings of the airplane, and they spend a week there. It's such an organic organization. These are the warbird community. Here's the solo aerobatic guys with their airplanes, the hangars just coming out. All walks of life people come from, people there because they love the metaphor of flying. Now, this is what the crowds look like in any big venue we fly at. You don't see any fences. We don't go into where we go work. See this little airplane? That's my new one, tumbling and twirling. Guys just snap it in the sky and stay in there? That's so much fun. But just look at the people, what they get out of this. have logos on them. This one is Assurance. I'm Oracle. That's what we're going to talk about next is sponsorship and the business of flying. This is my 4-ship team. My son's on the left wing. 2 of my instructors from my flight school are on my right wing and slot pilot. That was probably the funnest time I've had being a leader. I want to talk about leadership a little bit. What I've learned by leading a team who are 4 feet from your wingtip, and they're trusting you not to take them into the ground. It's like the sky's our canvas. When we spread out those formations, making those designs. Oh, here I go, that famous torque roll again. I'm going to fly backwards. And then my son's going to come by and miss me. Thank you, Eric. Miss me. Watch these people. Watch this. Okay, sponsorship. That's you get a free ride. If you ask a question, you get. My plane weighs 1,223 pounds, 400 horsepower. It's lighter than a Miata. It is incredible. I take it up to 300 miles an hour. It'll go faster, but 300 is fast enough, and I don't want to find out. I don't want to be a test pilot. I had to test fly it yesterday, and I hate doing that. Bad things happen in a test flight. I'd rather hire a stunt double to be my test pilot. But other go ahead.
Have you ever raced your plane? Like in the Red Bull race?
No. Only, and which is, Red Bull really did a lot for my business. And I would, because of my sponsorship, this is what I want to talk about sponsorship. First of all, Red Bull did a fabulous amount, and he quit. The owner of Red Bull quit racing because the pilot's egos got too big. The guys, and these are great guys, but they made them into, the marketing people made them into thinking they were cool. Well, they started believing their press clippings, and believe me, once you start believing your press clippings in my business, you're a dead man walking. And I think once you start believing your press clippings in any business, you're on your way to fail. And these guys, and this guy, the guy who owns Red Bull is a righteous dude. He was spending $150 million a year on this project. Awesome stuff they were doing, from the audio visual and all the TV. And he had lost some of his athletes, or his extreme athletes, are some of the best, are the best in the world. And whether the wingsuiters or whether the Red Bull pilots, Red Bull only has the best, and he had just lost some of his wingsuiters, and he was doing this because he can't. It's his company, it's not a private, it's a company, and he wanted to do this because he's a huge aviation enthusiast, and the guys really turned into my friends. And they started believing they were cool, you know, they're getting the right makeup, they're doing the thing, they're too cool. This guy says, this is not fun anymore for me. I just lost 4 of my good friends skydiving, and these guys are jerks. Stop the program. Stopped it. So that's sponsorship, okay? See that Oracle symbol? You might get a one shot at it by somebody's giving you a gift, but if you don't fulfill on a metric, sponsorship doesn't work. If you don't fulfill on, they pay me a lot of money, I don't even mind saying about $2,600,000 a year to do this job. I have an IT touch on my metric of 1 billion, last year was $1,800,000 and some million of who came through my hospitality chalet. And that makes it kind of well, I don't even want to talk about impressions and everything else, but the point I'm trying to make is nobody's paying you because they think it's cool. They're paying you to fulfill on their expectation. That's what sponsorship's all about. And that's what I got early on in my career I got my shot. This was my shot. But nobody's paying you because you're cool. They're paying you to fulfill on their expectation. And once that doesn't, I'm very worried this year because of the sequestration and they're canceling the Blue Angel shows. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. I love the sponsorship. And if I can't fulfill on their expectations, I won't take their money. I mean, I'll take it this year because I'm trying, but I'm worried I'm going to lose some shows. I'll quit because I can't take somebody's money because, and I'm not going to be crooked that way. I'm not going to have my life that way. And so anything, when you see sponsorship on any race car things, I know Carl Edwards, I know these guys flew Juan Montoya last year, and they're all businessmen. And now they make some dough. I mean, so I'm in Chicago, and I'm really the worker man. I mean, compared to, I'm the top in my game, and I make a damn good living, and my team, we talked about at the table, my team all own their own houses, and they have all this. But these other guys, and he comes, his wife bought him a birthday present through my flight school. And for $400 to go, that's what I charge when I'm at home, $400 to go fly in 20 minutes for people. Juan Carlos Montoya, you know, an IndyCar driver, he shows up in his jet, Juan Carlos Montoya. The nanny, the hot wife, the business manager, the whole works, and his two pilots go wait all day long, and he just having a ball. And so I quizzed him on this stuff, and I said, how's it going? He says, never won a race, but it doesn't matter because my customer is happy. The metric isn't about winning races. Their metric is about hospitality. And he is, I said, well, how long do you think you do it? He says, I'm going to do this as long as I can. This is too much fun. Just driving fast and turning left. I'm going to do this until I get too many wrinkles. You know? And he's just got so much money, but he does a great job. But he understands the metric. They're not doing it because they like him. You might get away with it once. You got to fulfill on the expectation. In terms of leadership, you know, I was always been a solo guy. It's all about me, you know. It's all about my team taking care of me and keeping me alive. I trust my life with my team, but now all of a sudden I'm putting a couple wingmen on got my son on one wing, got Ben on another, I got Bill below me, and we're 3 feet apart. And what I learned from that is here's these guys. They don't look at the ground when we're flying. They're only looking at me. And I'm taking them right down there, you know? And I'm making decisions when you go over the top, there's no turning back. And if I misjudge, I kill them all. They can't get away because they can't see, they won't even see it coming, you know? So that level of trust really humbled me in terms of being a leader. And what I found though is the leader has to accept all the responsibility. And what we would do when we got done briefing, we got done flying, we go debrief the flight. They spent an hour and a half telling me what a bad pilot I was. Because they don't want to die. And I have to, so it was my team, I was paying these guys. And so, get in there, even though I'm signing the front of the check and they're signing the back of the check, the boss is no longer the boss. When you sit down in a debrief, I'm sure you guys did it in the military as well. It's faceless, nameless, and rankless. There's, you know, it's got to be, well, I'm telling you, I dig that concept because you can get there, you can have the door closed, everybody can tell exactly what they need to say so you can be very clear. I call it eloquent communication, honest communication. I think in the business world, the more that happens, the more successful you are. I think if a leader doesn't have the humility, you know, and basically the leader is the workplace spiritual advisor. You know, he's the guy who sets it. Are we ethical? You know, do we have the trust? He's the one who sets the tone. If he's in a bad mood, everybody's in a bad mood. If he's happy and empowered and he's inspired, everybody has to follow the lead. So I think in the business world, in the world, because I get to fly with customers who buy hundreds of millions of dollars of software from Oracle, smart guys, and I get to interact with them, and I've seen the truly great guys, the great You know, 2 weeks ago I was having dinner with Larry Ellison, straight up guy. Guy was an orphan. One of America's he's the third richest man in America, which is worth $41 billion. He's an orphan in Chicago, man. This guy is a straight up, he could sit in this room and talk to you guys, and you wouldn't know he has that kind of dough. He is a straight up, in fact, I'll show you, this is what loyalty is all about when you've been with a company for a while. I can't believe it's a publicly held company. I got to tell you this story. This is my last bailout. Did you hit channel 7? This is just a news report of my crash. Sorry about that crash. That was a good one.
On your side, this is News Channel 7 at 5.
A stunt show became a rescue mission.
That's right, the pilot in Louisiana never thought that he would have to leave his plane until a mechanical problem forced him to jump. Brent Forbes has more on this story.
Some Red River Parish residents got a private air show of a different kind from a world-renowned stunt pilot around 10:30 Tuesday morning.
We saw the plane up and circling, and then we saw it actually when he bailed out and when the plane went out.
The Challenger aerobatic biplane came down in a cotton field on Michael Simpson's I Hope Ranch in Lake End.
I saw the dust when the plane hit. In a few minutes I saw him parachute.
The world-famous stunt pilot, Sean Tucker, flew out of the Red River Parish Airport to practice his routine for a weekend air show. Tucker's spokesperson, Carl Coppin, says Tucker noticed a mechanical failure shortly after takeoff, just a short time before his 8,500-foot jump.
It took about 15 minutes to assess the problem, realized that it would probably be unsafe to land it, so during that time we found a good landing area, a wide open field, and he elected to wait till the field just got about empty and jumped out of the airplane and parachuted down.
Is that an everyday thing for stunt pilots?
It's not an everyday thing, but it's something you train for repeatedly.
And the training paid off. Now all that's left are the bits and pieces.
They'll, salvage what's that, get it out of this guy's flat field, and you can put it back together,
In Red River Parish, Louisiana, Brent Forbes for CBS News.
Sean Tucker was on his way to the Sun and Fun Air Show in Lakeland, Florida this weekend. His spokesperson says Tucker will not fly in the show, but he can teach other pilots a lesson about getting out midair and surviving.
Yes, he can.
Yes, I can. Well, you know what? At least I'm here to talk about it. How would you like to have been dead and you get 20 seconds in a video clip and that's your life story? Go ahead.
Understanding, obviously, you know how dangerous this is. I heard you saying that your son is also a stunt pilot?
No, he retired. And he's got a real job flying. And it was bittersweet for me. It really was, because I love sharing it with him. And I loved having my son on my wing. And he's such a great thinker, and he really helped my business. And then when he retired, it was bittersweet because I miss my son. I was so relieved that he quit. You know, he's on a second child on the way, and he had to go make his career, and he didn't want to follow in my footsteps because, well, number one is I have a pretty good reputation in my industry, and then he's just he wants to make his own. I think that's one of the reasons. The other reason is we travel so much, and so that's hard. He was just thinking of getting married to this gal, and I think he made the right decision, but I miss him. Yeah, I miss him on my wing, but when he'd be out training, because we're always practicing, and I'd be out in one area and he'd be out in the other area, and I'd say something on the mic and I want to hear him, and then I'd get this weird feeling. And we almost banged into each other one time. He almost killed me. And it was his fault. But the deal is we did it, but it was in 2008, but I'm glad he's out of business. I think it is a dangerous business, and I love to mentor kids, bring them in because they learn so much, and I've mentored a lot of kids, but I want them out. Because I think I've been very fortunate, and by the grace of God go I. Remember, I'm not an extraordinary, skillful pilot. I've just trained so much, and I've been very lucky, and I try to leave no stone unturned. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to die tomorrow. It's a tough business, and I have the best of the best, and I have my mind on straight, but it's a dangerous business. And once I lose my nerve, I quit, and I wouldn't be ashamed of it. Once I lose my skills go, I quit, I won't be ashamed of it. But I'm still, you follow your gut. My gut says to keep going. But once my gut says, don't do this anymore, I'm going to listen to it. And I wouldn't be ashamed of it on all those envelopes. But what I wanted to say about Oracle, and so I'm laying in this cotton field again, another wreck, damn. And I have not flown one show for them yet. I just flown they sponsor me for a number of shows, and I do pickup shows just because I need to keep my skill sets up. And the only way you get better is in the arena. You don't get better practicing. You can main, and you'll know this in competitions, is in the arena is how you get to be a great competitor or a great anything, is because that's when it counts. It's real time. And so I like to, if Oracle doesn't need me at an event, and I have time, I'll go fly an event just so I keep my skill sets up. And I haven't even flown an Oracle show yet. They're already up front of me $1 million. $1 million. They said, here's $1 million to get started, get the team going. And I spent just about all of that getting the overhaul finished, and the whole, because it takes months to get the team ready to go. And I'm laying in this field and I said, I'm fired, man. I lost it. I'm done. I got nothing, you know. And the season's just started, and within 5 minutes of my crash, Larry Ellison calls me up. Says, Sean, I only got a couple minutes, but I'm in a board meeting, but I wanted to tell you, if you don't want to fly any more this year, I'm fulfilling the contract. If you want to fly next year, you're still sponsored. So I had a backup airplane. It took me 6 weeks to get it going, but for a publicly held CEO to call somebody up, he's got 140,000 employees, call somebody up who cares that much, really gave me a sense of worth, that I really do have value to that company, and I'm just not a number. My loyalty to them, and this is 7 years ago this happened, is huge. I've had other offers from other corporations for, you know, that's another life's lesson, is somebody might want to give you some more money right now, but I'm going on 13 years with Oracle, and they've done, I mean, I would love to finish my career and retire representing them, because I'm so honored to have a company that straight up, that will take care of a small guy. They could have just said, get out of here, you know? I mean, I worked for MCI, and it was a horrible experience. And in fact, I quit it. I worked for 2 years for MCI, and I quit them. I said, our contract, no, 4 years, no, 2 years. And our contract was done. I said, our contract done? I said, yep, it's done. I said, well, I don't want to work for you anymore. I said, fine. So I hang up the phone, and I go next door, I knock on AT&T's door. So we're signing the contract, that's getting done. I'm going, I put the logos on the airplane. MCI got word of that. They sent a lawsuit over to AT&T and say, if you sponsor Tucker, we're going to sue you because this is proprietary, blah, 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 blah. So I showed that to my lawyer, and my lawyer said, well, you're right, Sean. You're absolutely right. Your contract's done, but you're not going to win. They're going to keep you in court for 5 years, so what do you want to do with your career? I had to go back to MCI and go to work for them for 2 more years in a very toxic environment. It was horrible. But that's part of business too, you know. Sometimes you got to do things you don't like, you know. Or I could retire, and I didn't want to retire. But so anyway, once you get on with a good company, if you get the privilege, because I love being an employee, you know, I own my own small business, but I love working for somebody and fulfilling on their expectation. I would love to wish I didn't have to make decisions as 15 employees. I have to, they're become a part of your family. I would rather not have that responsibility, because it's a big burden, because you worry about them and their kids and their futures. You make decisions on how, because they buy houses and the whole works, you know. And it's hard being a businessman. It's hard doing that stuff and doing it responsibly. But once you find a good company, get the most you can out of it and take care of them. I really believe that. But you got to be, cream has to rise to the top. How are we doing on time? We got 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Okay, I'm going to show you just, this is a funny one. This is really my favorite. Okay, when I said luck comes to the one most prepared, that means it doesn't always go right. It doesn't always go the way you want it. It doesn't go according to plan. You guys know, that's why you're here. You guys know more than anybody. I can't talk to you guys about courage or patriotism and dedication to your country, because I can't talk to you about that. But I can talk to you about, from my experience, you know it doesn't always go right. But if you're prepared, you got a shot at it. If you firmly believe in yourself, what happened was, and don't start it yet, I took my niece's best friend, you guys must think I'm in that, I took my niece's best friend for an aerobatic ride. I have an aerobatic flight school, and this is about 13 years ago. And I just wanted to give her a thrill ride, just for a fun experience, and I really built it up. And we're doing the inverted flat spin. One I couldn't, remember I got the CG? And I even told her I bailed out of my first plane doing the graveyard spin, you know? Kind of built it up. I know how to do this stuff now. I'm good at it now, you know? But the prop falls off. Prop falls off in the spin. Boom! Holy whatever. and 3,500 feet, who is paratroopers here? 30 seconds. 3,500 to hit the ground, or 35 seconds if you don't open your parachute, right? Well, this little girl would not have survived. I'm gonna make it. I got 500 skydives, 513 skydives. This little girl, I could do this. And I've already jumped out of, at that time I'd only jumped out of 2 airplanes. And so I know how to do it. I'm a chicken, man. I go for the best, you know, I mitigate my risk and I make the best decision in an emergency situation. I can't jump out of this airplane because she won't make it. But I train, and let me tell you, these little biplanes, when you lose your propeller, the center of gravity goes out. They have a glide ratio of a manhole cover. This one. You're not gliding back to the airport. You're going right where you see below you is where you're going, and it's a manhole cover. The center of gravity is so apt to make it fly, you got to keep the nose going down, you got to go fast. So I got to land at 150 miles an hour. It's winter. If I don't make this strip, I'm going to flip over because it's a muddy field. And so it's pretty dramatic, but the dialogue is cool. And the point is, you've got to fly your life as far into the wreck as possible. You never give up on your belief in yourself. You never give up. You never think negatively. You don't think negatively. You put blinders on in terms of who you are and your conviction of purpose, and you normally come out the other side. And this is just an example. So that's what, right? This is the last one. You don't have.
We like speed, don't we?
Yeah.
Got the need for it?
Yeah, need for speed.
There you go. Hey, she is doing a barrel roll. Go ahead, look over your left way. Look out, just out through the area. We'll go up there.
This is her first ride in an airplane ever.
Oh, great.
Okay, we'll do a loop. Okay, look over your, your left way.
I look to your right there, you'll see building with a blue roof on it.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Somebody else out there to help you park.
Did the G on the neck?
Doing okay?
Yeah.
Let's go straight up for a while. Just start soaring. Here we go. Okay, look over your left wing again.
Oh my God.
Stop here for a while, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll turn around. Go straight in.
Let's do it.
Is that you behind her?
Yeah.
We should probably, you feel sick or you feel good?
I feel good.
You feel great?
I feel so great.
Okay. But then we'll do the most ultimate maneuver then. It's called the inverted flat spin.
Okay.
The graveyard spin.
The graveyard.
Oh, this is more people. In fact, I jumped out of my first airplane.
No, don't tell me that. Okay.
So we'll get up to about 4,000 feet. We need to climb high because we're going to spin low. Hamlet?
Yeah?
You feel okay? Or you feel medium okay?
No, I feel good.
Great?
Great.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, what?
So, you know how to recover really well.
I promise.
Okay.
I promise. I like my job in my life.
Okay.
This is all fun, remember?
Yeah.
This is not supposed to be scary, right?
Bye.
Right.
Take safety seriously.
That's right. Very important. We're going to get nice and high. But this thing is, what we're going to do now is I got my altitude, so now I'm going to come on down and get a little airspeed. Pick up some speed, all right?
Okay.
All right. Okay, we're going to pick up a little speed. You still feeling good?
I feel great.
Okay, now we're going to go straight up just for a little while, okay?
Okay.
Look over your left leg. But that's not good enough. Now we got to get upside down. And now we're going to enter the grave yard. You got to keep straight.
Boom. Watch this flow.
We lost our propeller. Now we lost our propeller.
Okay.
Now we're going to glide.
On.
Huh?
On. What do we do?
We're fine. Not a problem.
Are you sure?
I promise you.
On.
We're okay. Relax. Gotta land on this dirt strip right down here.
On.
We're okay.
Go on.
On.
Tighten up. Now listen to me. I want you to tighten up your belt.
Okay.
We're cool. Okay?
On. Are we gonna be okay?
Everything's fine, I promise. Okay? You're flying with me, okay? Everything is fine, all right?
Not quite as jovial anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Don't get like that now. Come on.
Hey.
Come on, we're fine. Fine. We're fine. Okay. Tighten up your shoulder harnesses. Shoulder harnesses nice and tight?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
On.
We're cool. Trust me. Trust me, okay?
Okay.
But trust me. Trust me. We're gonna land this airplane right now. Okay? We're cool. We're on the ground. Everything's... We're on the ground.
That's a lot
Now,
of
is that so
nerves.
bad?
You gotta let it go.
Is that so bad? Huh?
Don't bring this thing.
Shot. Remember last time you asked me to go fly upside down with you and I said no?
That's what it looks without a propeller.
Oh
You're
my
to the right
God.
side now. Okay, so.
back up on the plane since?
Oh no, she became a missionary actually. Now she has 4 kids. She wants to go eventually, but she's not ready yet. And, oh, poor thing. I mean, I just feel.
How long is it?
Pardon me?
How long in advance was you taking her up?
Oh, she had. Oh no, this is like 13, 14 years ago. This is.
I wouldn't fly any. She had to fly.
Anything. It's hard to be a missionary if you're taking a bus everywhere. Okay, because I don't. Are we okay on time? I just want to leave you guys. You know, this is my life, and flight's my metaphor to how I try to live. I live my life because it's been great, and money comes. Money comes. Money comes if you have value. Money comes if you're the best at what you do. Money comes if you don't give up. I'm just telling you, this is an impossible job. It's an impossible job. And to make dough at an impossible job, there's like probably 4 people in the United States of America make money at this. And I'm not an extraordinary pilot. I have extraordinary passion. And I think passion is that lights the spark within, and that keeps you empowered. And that means looking at yourself in the mirror and believing in yourself. That's what passion is. And knowing in your gut that you're living it for the right reasons. You know, well, how else do you want to live life? You know, I mean, it's too much fun otherwise. This is too much fun. As hard as it is, it's sure a lot better than the alternative. You know, I mean, people ask me when I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit when I lose my skills, I lose my nerve, or it's no longer the most important thing besides my family, besides those things. But I want to leave you guys with a quote, and it's from Cowgirls Get the Blues. It's by Tom Robbins, and I've carried that quote around and for over 20 years, and I'll get it wrong, but it's a cool quote. It says, you take any art, any activity, any discipline, and you push it. You push it as far as it will go. You push it to the wildest edge of edges. Then you turn it into magic. And truly, that's our life. Our life is that opportunity. And I want to thank you guys for having me come out here. we don't have to do the inverted flat spin, okay? But, and I taught a totally blind woman how to loop and roll in the water. And so, no, you can do it. I would be honored to take you through it. Cool. So keep the card. It's going to be good until Salinas, California. But I travel all around the country. You know where we were. I'm not taking you. You're paying. You're paying. But thanks so much, you guys. Any questions?
So I got a question.
Sure.
You said in the front end you talked about you were pretty much scared.
Scared to death.
What did you do to overcome that fear of failure? Because I'm imagining it was more than just a fear of auguring into the ground. But
Just fear of failing myself.
right.
Is
What did
having
you
the
do to
courage.
suck that up?
Having the courage to be honest with yourself. Having the courage. And here's the worst part. So I fulfilled on my aerobatic dream. I conquered that fear. And then the bigger fear was jumping out of an airplane. God, I remember that day. And I knew that was my next nemesis because I watched my friend die. I was going to school up at UC Santa Cruz, and I sat all day long the day before I was going to go do that. And it was like 7 years later, 4 or 5, I can't remember how many years later. And I sat all by myself. It's just like, do I really want to? I was scared to death. I was scared to death. But I had to do it to fulfill, because I wanted to be in the sky. And you cannot be encumbered with negative energy in the sky. That's, you know, you can't. And I faced it, man. And I told those instructors I'm afraid. And that summer I jumped 150 times. I took a student loan out. It took me, my wife, so I'm sticking with her. It took my wife, who became a nurse. I knew she was going to make some dough. I mean, she graduated from nursing school to make $8 an hour, baby. We got it. And to pay that student loan back. Does that answer?
Well, it is customary that each speaker gets a Wyakin Warrior polo and a hat, and we just want to say thank you for coming down here and talking to us, and it was a great lecture. Yeah, school is lecture, whatever. I also want to thank Cliff, because without him, he wouldn't be here, we wouldn't gain all the knowledge. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Challenge point. It's a military thing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Very much.
Thank you.
Very, very much. I appreciate it. You guys keep that card, please. Yeah. And you know, just feel free to be I can be one of your resources. You know, just feel free to do that, because what I said about mentorship, you gotta have courage to ask for it. You know, and if I can be a resource, I certainly will. Especially if it's in the computer business, it's pretty easy. Flight business, I'm getting this kid. Helping this kid get his first big sponsorship, and he's fabulous. And that's hard. The food business is easy.
I'm looking forward to it.
What? Just curious, you talked about 3 times that you ejected, I guess, out of the plane.
We don't need people. 3 times.
3 times total?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've crashed 3 helicopters. Because I'm just terrible. No, I'm really not terrible. I'm really not terrible. Helicopter crashes is mechanical errors, it cliffs the helicopter. And when you're a crop duster and you're 2 feet off the deck and stuff happens, you think you're going to be okay, and then as you're slowing down in the auto rotation over gross in the real world, you're not on cement, and then you hit some dirt clod and that little bolt breaks off, the skid goes off, then the rotor blades hit the ground, the helicopter flips this way. So I'm really not, but here's the deal. Here's the deal what my friend Bob Hoover says, it's all about exposure. I've exposed myself to that kind of risk so long, and he says that's why I gotta maximize my effort on mitigating all the risks possible. I mean, when I crashed that last airplane, my dream machine, I was on tour with another product in Columbia, and I had a big crew, like 7 guys, going. And I said to the guys that day, you guys are gonna be blown away on this statement. I said to the guys, I said, guys, we're moving too fast. We gotta stop, and I want each one of you to look at my airplane and inspect it before I go fly it. And and these are mechanics, these are the guys who built the airplane. And they looked at it, I waited an hour, I got in the airplane. This break happened, I just finished snap holes going down, 225 miles an hour, 7.5 G pull, 10 feet off the ground, and my bolt broke, and the rod end that connects to the elevator is the up and down. And it went, and I grabbed the trim control, which is the thing that helps you balance the airplane and fly, and I got it, the oscillation stabilized. But how do you know that stuff? How did I, what did my gut told me something, and I had 7 of the best look at it, and it was a brand new overhauled airplane. Every year we overhaul. That part, bought from a reputable company, $25 rod end, failed at 55% of its rated value. What we learned from that is we didn't do destructive testing on our new parts. Okay? That's what we learned. That's our takeaway. And that's what you get. And it was a reputable company. It's an aircraft sent it to the FAA, the whole thing. They did their investigation. It was just a bad set of parts. So now we do destructive testing. You know, so because of the exposure, you know, the dumb one was just being dumb. But the rest of them was just the exposure to the elements, and it just goes on.